Nice
Good.
catch.
There you go.
Okay, so just start, Eric, with the day little guy came into the world and what happened when he was born.
So Sam was born during a snowstorm in January 2011. So for those of you that remember the thunder snow, where there were cars trapped on the Beltway, Sam was born during that storm, and everything looked fine. In fact, the nurses and the doctors gave him great reviews when he was first born. And then he stayed in the hospital for a couple days as normal. And as we were going to leave the hospital, the pediatrician did an exam and heard a murmur in his heart. And she said, I'm going to call in a cardiologist because I really think this needs to be looked at. And so the cardiologist came in very calm and said, hey, this is going to be one of three things, but I need to do a sonogram. And two of the three things don't require surgery, but the third thing could require an open heart surgery. So let me see what's there. And sure enough, Sam had a very large hole between the two ventricles of his heart. And sometimes these are small enough where they'll close on their own, but he needed a life-saving operation. And he they sent him home with us, which we were a little bit freaked out about. And they said, he'll come back at 3 months, and we want to let him grow and get a little bit bigger. And at that point, so we took him home. And about 2 weeks later, we took him into the physician's office for his shots. And I noticed the physician getting really concerned. And he called the cardiologist and said, come to my office. And it turned out Sam was going into congestive heart failure. And so things escalated pretty quickly. And the cardiologist said, I'm calling children's, and don't even go to the emergency room, go right to the heart and kidney unit. Like, don't stop at the emergency room. They're going to have a bed for you. And so we were there he was there for about 3 nights, and they were trying to get everything back under control with medication so that they could line up surgery. And they were still planning on surgery about 3 months out. And Dr. Jonas, who's the head of the cardiac surgery program at Children's, walked into our room, and I had been thinking, we're going to fly this kid, anywhere on the planet to get the best surgery and find the absolute best surgeon. And I'd heard good things about Dr. Jonas from our pediatrician and from our cardiologists. And I was ready to take Sam to Boston. I was thinking about Philadelphia, anywhere in the world we would have gone. And Dr. Jonas came in really calm and said, let's get him on the surgery schedule now. No need to wait for 3 months. I can do this. And there's a lot of sick people in the hospital. Let's get him repaired and home with you. And so sure enough, he accelerated the schedule. He got us in. And I just remember one of the things he said was, we're going to repair your son's heart, but we're going to heal your whole family. And that really it really gave us the confidence to move forward quickly. And so we did, and we got him on the surgery schedule. And I remember the biggest thing I was afraid about was that he wouldn't be able to have the surgery. And they said if he has a fever, he won't be able to have the surgery. So I remember obsessively checking his temperature, like almost multiple times per day before we got to the night of the surgery. And I remember really feeling confident and so grateful when we were able to hand him into the arms of the nurses at Children's who were preparing him for surgery. The surgery went over 4 hours, and we got updates periodically, and they would say, Sam's heart has stopped. We have him on bypass. We've taken him off bypass. He's now back, he's now back, regulating his own body. And the surgery was a big success. He came home after only 3 nights in the hospital, and he was only on Tylenol. And for us, it was amazing because a couple decades earlier, he would have, this would have been a really bad outcome. This wouldn't have been even possible. And Dr. Jonas just made it happen, and not only inspired us with confidence, but we just had Sam's checkup with his cardiologist recently. And every time we go in for a checkup, the cardiologist said he had an amazing repair. And so to know that Children's is here if you need it, and to know that you don't need to go around the world to find the best care. It's right here in the DC area. We have some of the best talent globally. We have some of the most amazing research happening, not only to create great outcomes from the surgery, but also to create, to help the kids long term. In the case of the work that Dr. Jonas does, he's done extensive research on how to actually operate in a way that preserves the best neurological outcomes. So they actually chill the operating room down to, I think, 67 degrees. So all the doctors and nurses need to wear heavy clothing, because they actually chill the patient down to slow down their metabolism during this really big surgery. So that's sort of the story from my perspective. It was really traumatic to receive a diagnosis that had such risk associated with it, but it filled us with confidence in the work that Children's did. And so while our insurance paid for the surgery and the hospitalization, we are in debt to Children's for life. That's sort of how I look at it. So, Sam?
Hey, buddy.
Hi.
When I think Jenny and I were both probably moved at the same moment when your voice was cracking, the first thing Sam did was reach over and put his arm around you.
You guys have such a bond. I mean, it's obvious. You went through something really scary together, but because of Children's, your family is whole. Your family is whole today. And that's why we're here for the Radiothon, is to encourage people to support children so they can keep on making these miracles happen. Right, Jill?
Yeah. And Sam, I know your dad was telling us about how scared he was because you're the love of his life and he wanted you to heal, but you had to keep going back to Children's for different checkups over the years. And one of the things we love to have the kids and patients share is what you love most about Children's National.
Yeah. So, is that a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what can you share about some of the things that make that place so special for you as a patient?
It definitely makes me feel special that when I get all this stuff, like when I got that, when we get to go to the Race for Every Child, it makes me feel like I'm really special that I got the heart surgery and that I've really been gifted a very big opportunity.
Aww.
And what is your life like now? I mean, you're almost 10 years old. If you were born in January, it means your birthday's coming up real soon. What are some things that you're able to do activity-wise and stuff? Like, if we didn't know, would we know that you had surgery on your heart?
Yeah, so a lot of people, when they first meet me, they do not know. They can't tell. And because I'm so energetic that they would never have guessed that happened when I was 5 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
So what kind of sports do you play? How do you spend your time?
I spend a lot of time doing sports. I do swimming, I do baseball, I do soccer. I also do, I think that's it, actually.
That's a lot.
Future Olympian here, folks. You saw it first. You saw Sam first.
Oh my goodness. And
well, listen.
Oh, sorry.
Ahead.
Eric, where do you guys stand now with his care? Like, is the relationship with children going to be ongoing throughout his life? How to sort of close it off, what's going on?
Yeah, so he's on a follow-up schedule every 2 to 3 years now. He goes in for a checkup. Last month we just did his 2-year checkup, and we'll continue that, and then at some point over the course of the teenage years, he'll transition to an adult congenital cardiac program, and so for the foreseeable future, he'll be engaged at Children's, and the team there will continue to take care of him. And if anything comes up, we know where to go, and we know the team that will support us. But the surgery itself was successful in getting him to the point where his heart will grow, and his heart essentially repaired itself. So they put a patch on his heart during the surgery, and then his own tissue grows over the patch. So essentially his heart now his heart has closed the hole with his own tissue, and the patch will always stay there. But the team at Children's will continue to monitor him, and if there's anything else he needs, they'll be here.
That's incredible. Janie, do you have another question, or are we good?
Well, yeah, I want to ask the big question, Sam. What do you want for Christmas this year?
Well, I was thinking last year I wanted a VR headset, and that's what I got. I mean, it had like Netflix and a bunch of things.
Cool.
This year, I don't really know. I was going for the PS5, the new PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because I've never had a PlayStation, and it seems it's a very good console, I've heard.
And a very hot, in demand gift item.
Yeah.
Hard to get.
Yeah, I hope you get one.
I forgot to ask this for Dad, though. I think that every parent with Children's National, going back to the special place that it is there a moment that sticks out in your head, Eric, where there was like blurred lines between them being doctors and them being part of your family? Like what's something that really gets you in the feels every time you think about it?
Yeah, I'd say probably 2 moments. I see the background that you have from the lobby with the balloons there.
Yes.
And I remember when he was undergoing bypass, and I was getting the little pager alerts. I was actually sitting in that lobby, and so that visually brings back a key moment. We also had a nurse, and her name was Michelle. I'm blanking on her last name, but she was our IC nurse, and my wife and I had not slept we had not had a full night's sleep in 40 nights, between when he was born and the surgery. And in the cardiac ICU, it's pretty hands-on. There's one nurse, taking care of one kid consistently, because he still had tubes and wires and everything right after surgery. And I remember sitting my wife and I were sitting on chairs, and Michelle just said, "I got this. He's doing great." And we woke up in the morning, and both of us we were so exhausted, we just passed out. And we woke up in the morning, and she was feeding him a bottle, and he was taking a bottle like he'd come off of this big traumatic surgery, and she took she was holding him like nothing had happened, and she was feeding him a bottle, and he was eating, and we thought, like, this is she just, I would just say, inspired us with confidence the same way that Dr. Jonas did. And when you think about, and our experiences through the lens of the cardiac surgery program, that just the quality of the team that's in place at every level, from the surgeons, the other intensivists, the nurses, the follow-up team that takes care of you after surgery. And I know from friends and others that have been involved with other departments at Children's, it's the same sort of very team-centric and very high-quality approach that takes care of not just the patient and the medical issue, but everything surrounding the experience that a family has to go through. And so the way Michelle took care of us and really, inspired us with confidence enough where we could relax to actually sleep. That's just part of the way that our experience went down with Children's.
It is a very special place, and we are so fortunate to have it right here, as we say, in our own backyard in the nation's capital. You guys, what an amazing story, a miracle, a life-saving, miracle that Children's made possible. We thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate all the work that you're doing, and thank you for getting this out there. And as I said earlier, our insurance paid for the surgery, but we're in debt for life. So we're here for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, both of you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Happy
I'll say
holidays.